What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic. And today, I hope you have really just stayed at peak interest for the last 7 years since the original came out so that we can get into Den of Thieves 2, Pantera. Because they made a sequel to Den of Thieves. I don't know why. I don't know, because they probably looked at a budget sheet and they're like, I bet we can make this for cheap enough that we'll make just enough profit. Just enough people liked Den of Thieves. The word of mouth is pretty good. IMDb's got it at a 7. Metacritic, not great, but IMDb, people seem to like it. So let's make a sequel. So what I think about Den of Thieves 2, Pantera, click like and subscribe and you'll find out. So, this is, well, we're missing some cast, and they didn't really bother to introduce anybody new or interesting, so, I hate to say that a film is missing Pablo Schreiber, 50 Cent, and Brian Van Holt, but, we're down to just Gerard, Butler, and O'Shea Jackson Jr., so... there isn't like a big, bold, fresh new face to draw in the crowd, so to speak. It's still Nick is still trying to chase down the criminals that broke into the Federal Reserve in the first movie, and at the beginning of the film we see another heist that is going on, and then Nick goes to his boss and he's like, put out a bolo on the guy. We all know who it is. I know who it is. And his boss is like, we're never going to do that because we can't admit to the American public that the Federal Reserve was robbed. So, Butler's had it. He's going rogue. He's doing his own stuff now. Donnie, played by O'Shea Jackson Jr., is the last remaining... person. So we follow him sort of on his journey of criminality, and eventually he'll collide with Nick, who is going to pretend to sort of be ready to jump on board the let's rob shit train, and so that he can, I don't know, get his man. This is sort of he goes undercover. He has to fly. They're all in Europe now. This whole thing is all throughout Europe, mostly in France, but they do hop around. I think they end in Sardinia. It's long. It is a long movie. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes, but to be fair, the first one was 2 hours and 20 minutes, so I think they took that as a green light for all Den of Thieves movies from now on can be 2 hours and 20 minutes long. It felt long. It felt like the kind of length that when I could see. I used to do this more when I was like gaming, but like I would try to parse out can I make a Taco Bell run? I used to live really close to a Taco Bell. It's like, can I hop in my car and get to Taco Bell and back, which would take like pretty averagely like I should be back in under 20 minutes. Will anything have happened in under 20 minutes? So and then if not, so yeah, this felt like a movie where I could have legitimately been gone for 20 minutes and not have... This is a bathroom break movie where I could have been gone for a chunk of it and not known. And been like, oh, okay, that we're still doing this. All right. Oh, we're having more conversations about this. All right. Oh, okay. So he's still working his way in. Still, they're becoming buddies. He's okay. He's revealing more of himself. Got it. Like, it just feels like for like a long section of the movie that it just kind of slows down. It's not as action-packed as you would think. It's very much more Gerard Butler trying to like work mind games on O'Shea Jackson Jr. And then you're wondering, does O'Shea Jackson Jr. know? I hate saying his whole name. Ice Cube Jr. Does he know? And I don't know. I mean, it's just, it feels like a movie that we didn't need a sequel to. And I think it would have been much more interesting to see Nick coming out of the first movie going after new criminals instead of still chasing down the one remaining one, the one that got away, and having to like go undercover in order to do it. Well, basically, unofficially undercover. Yeah, it's, I don't know. There are scenes just they just don't work for me, like most of them. But I just thought the movie was slow. The pacing was off. I thought it was really struggling. It was like, it felt like it had to be 2 hours and 20 minutes because the first movie was 2 hours and 20 minutes. Didn't feel like the 2 hours and 20 minutes was justified. The performances are fine, considering most of the cast are a bunch of unknown Europeans that I'm sure are more famous in their countries than they are in America. I did not know who, so I like O'Shea and Gerard, and they did, well, O'Shea did fine in his role. Gerard is, I mean, he's been better. At this point, we've seen enough Gerard Butler roles that by the time I got around to him trying to be the villain of the story, I was just like, I think it's a bit much. He feels like he's acting. He feels like he's putting on a character. It doesn't feel real to me. The questions that he's asking feel forced. Like, it just, I don't know. He was doing a really bad job of being the guy, Oh man, you must be really rich. Tell me. Oh, where do you keep your money? Oh, how did you do it? Oh man, you took the old money before it was destroyed, right? Right? Do you trust me? Are we building trust? No, we're not building trust. Yeah, he just doesn't know how to be chilled and laid back. He seems like a man on a mission at all times. And O'Shea is just like, can't get rid of this guy. So just, I don't know. So Den of Thieves 2. I'm not a huge fan. If it was shorter, if the pacing was tighter, if it was more exciting and there was a more inventive plot for the sequel, then I think a lot of things could change. Not everything needs a sequel, and then you have to figure out how is it that we're going to do a sequel and do it differently enough, but keep the core. Like, what is it that we liked about the first movie, and how do we fix that? I think one of the best examples is Die Hard. Like, the first movie is great. It's like a classic. It's hard to touch. Really, you can't do much more than that. For some reason, we have like 4 sequels to it. John McClane has been in so many accidental terrorist situations over the course of his career. But the second one, notably, is the hardest follow-up, because you're like, okay, so it took place in a building on Christmas. How do we follow this up? Well, so he's at an airport on Christmas, and his wife's on the airplane, and he's trying to, save the day, and there's a little bit of a personal connection, and it feels organically like it's a situation that could work, even though you're like, man, John McClane just really stumbles in to all of the wrong situations at all the time. At least it feels like it's a fresh idea, and he's not just constantly going into buildings that have terrorists in them. And he's also not trying to seek out like the last remaining person of Alan Rickman's crew. Like, I killed everybody but that one guy. gotta go get that one guy. Which is kind of what this feels like. So, uh, yeah. And by the way, in case you're thinking about what the fuck is Pantera, well, there's this organization like the Panthers. No, not the Black Panthers, just the Panthers, which is like a criminal enterprise that plays through that. And I think that's where they got Pantera from. Uh, but unfortunately, it's not the band. Would have been much cooler if the Den of Thieves 2 was either starring the original members of the band Pantera or had them, I don't know, putting up a heist at a Pantera concert. Or they have to steal the band Pantera. Any one of those three would have, would have been immensely more entertaining than this. Yeah, I think it's funny because the first one has a higher IMDb than a Metacritic score, but the second one has a higher Metacritic score than it does an IMDb score. So audiences seem to dislike the sequel more than critics did. Like, critics came around to the sequel and they're like, oh, well, this is a better... I don't think this is a better movie. I think the first one was a better movie. And we didn't need this. We did not need this movie. So I'm going to give Den of Thieves to Pantera a C-. It didn't work for me, and I felt the runtime so hard on this movie. I was playing with my phone, like I was just like picking it up and looking at it and being like, do you have anything for me? No? Please? Can I have like a push notification that interests me more than this movie? I wouldn't even have anything on my phone. I just kept picking it up just to see if it would give me anything. Hello, do you have anything to offer? Yeah, I was bored out of my mind during this movie, and it's an action movie, which is not a good thing to be bored during. I was less bored during The Electric State. I will say that for all the people who are like, The Electric State is such a terrible movie. It had my attention more than this movie did. So, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the other side.